What's up, everybody? Listen out there on Spotify, on Google Podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, anywhere you can listen to a podcast on mobile devices while you're taking your kids to work, while you're listening to the weather forecast, because it's getting pretty dicey up here in the Northeast with all the snow and stuff like that. Everybody's staying safe. Hope you got supplies. Hope you got some nice juicy burgers and buns. And for all you vegans out there, starve. Anyway.
Got him.
Tonight's show, we got a bunch of different stuff to talk about that's happening throughout the gaming industry and such. But before we get all to the nice juicy bits, let's see who is on today's guest. First up, you know him, you love him. He's got that beautiful beard. We got Jay's Mac.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Chris.
It's not that beautiful. Not
What?
yours. Not as beautiful as yours.
All right, fine. I'll accept a beautiful beard. How you guys doing this evening?
Yeah, speaking of beautiful, we got Chris.
That's right. That's right. Suck it, Casey. My intro's really a slap in your face.
Come on, come on.
And speaking of vegans, we got TV's Casey.
It's me. I'm here.
On today's show, we've got a bunch of different... And I'm your host, the Bad Cody Surgery. There we go. We have fun here, guys. What's going on? Hey, everybody out there in the live Twitch chat. What's up? We see you guys lurking and being active. Hello, hello. Stop! Mortal Kombat! We're getting right into it. So, the Mortal Kombat movie trailer dropped. And, oh God, I watched this thing probably 20 times. I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan. I had a Sega Genesis growing up. I am that old. I remember the first time seeing it was actually at my friend's house. Like I had a friend, a kid in the block who had like everything. His parents were getting divorced. Like he had everything. He had the Sega channel. For those of you who don't know what the Sega channel is, like back in the day, it was like pay-per-view, but for Sega, and it was awesome. And one of the games he had, not on the Sega channel, just as a cartridge, was Mortal Kombat. And I was like, yo, what is this? He's like, oh, you know what Mortal Kombat is? Oh, let's play. And I was like, yo, what is this game with the violence and the fatalities and the amazing announcer and all the brutal moves? Holy crap. Fast forward to today. Fast forward to today. And we get an amazing, in my opinion, amazing trailer for a movie that I didn't think I'd be hyped for. I mean, I love the OG movie back in the 90s. Saw this trailer and it's just like, holy crap, they're really going for it. In my opinion, the cinematography looks great. Characters look great. I mean, guys, what were your reactions when you saw this thing?
Yo, they caught me the use of blood from Sub-Zero. Scorpion's blood, he turns it into an ice like shard, much like a character from Full Metal Alchemist.
Don't you?
Damn it! Got in there early.
Oh no.
Get it in quick. Yeah, so no, I'm like you, Sergio. I'm like, I really don't care to hear about another remake or another revamp of another movie, another franchise, another whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just tired of it, dude. Like, come up with, you guys had a year to just sit and think about something new. Like, make it. But I saw this, I was like, all right, that's pretty cool though. So at first you hear about it, you see it, and you're like, oh God, and then you're like, oh hey, this looks awesome. Like, yeah, I'm in.
Hey.
It's got the tropes. Look,
Yeah.
one thing that I feel like is lost on a lot of people that aren't huge Mortal Kombat fans, and it's something I I'm not a huge Mortal Kombat fan either, so I didn't really know this until like a few years ago, that the reason that they have this over the top violence, it's actually meant to be like almost comical. Like, that's the idea, is it's not taking itself too seriously. Is it's like, these ridiculous friggin' moves could never happen, so we're doing it just for the pure spectacle of it, and it's meant for you to go like, oh my God, what am I looking at? That is so gruesome, it's hilarious. And I do think that like that same over the top feeling is something that like the last movie, I felt like it just took itself too seriously, and this looks like it's like, all right, we're gonna fall into that same kind of like just kind of like goofy but awesome goofy type of thing there.
What do you think Reptile's in this? Do we see a little sneak preview of Reptile, or
No,
like
see,
People are assuming that it's Reptile.
So it also
to
could
get,
be
to, get,
in the end.
to get
It could
Reptile
be
in
Liu
the
Kang.
show, you have to watch the entire series without any interruptions. You have to take absolutely zero damage while you're watching this movie. And then on the next time you watch it, you got to make it all the way to Sub-Zero.
Yep.
And then you just might be able to fight Reptile.
See, I don't know if
good
it's Reptile or if it's Liu Kang's, like, you know, how he turns into the dragon and bites someone's head off, you know. But then again, they might show that they showed another version of that, so I'm like, maybe it is actually reptile. I just hope it's not like, I think they would make it seem like it's the reptile from the 90s where it's just like an actual reptile, not like a ninja. I'm like,
Oh yeah, the other movie is odd. But one thing I did like is, oh man, this could turn into a whole trilogy or saga, because like Mortal Kombat does have like its own verse, its own like MCU type of thing, you know.
There's so many characters.
There's so many characters. And there's so many stories. Like I did like in this trailer that they showed Scorpion before he was Scorpion, like when he was Hanzo. And I'm like, oh wait, are we going through that? That's a whole other story in itself about Hanzo's clan and how like like Bihan, the Sub-Zero clan, like slaughtering them. How like Sub-Zero was controlled by this this evil god and all. It's like there's a whole world out there in Mortal Kombat. Like it could be a whole series. And I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I was like, wait a minute, like this is a movie. I thought it was going to be a series at one point. And maybe if this does well, it can get a series. I'm hoping. I mean, it's on HBO Max, but like just seeing Hanzo just pre-Scorpion, I thought was awesome. Like him just like getting the kunai, defending his village, looking back at his house and seeing like a sword being torn in with blood. I was like, yo, they can go crazy with this thing. I mean, there's a lot of story in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, did you guys ever watch the TV show?
I did. Like the wait, like a live action or the cartoon?
Oh no, the live action.
Oh no,
there was a TV show.
Yeah, what was it called? It wasn't Mortal Kombat.
Well, was it a TV show, or was it? What you mean the YouTube show?
Well, I mean, it's still a TV show.
It was a YouTube show,
A YouTube series.
Yeah, it was a YouTube series. Yeah.
I also feel like they've had a few, because there was one in the '90s I don't remember happening. What the heck?
Probably an old one. Yeah. Why? What's up?
No, it's just that was a very story-driven Mortal Kombat, thing.
Do you mean the short film that they released? That like there was like a fan film that they did?
I think it was a short film. I remember it being a show.
Huh.
It was Mortal Kombat Legacy. I'm not a crazy person.
I mean, you are a crazy person, but
there
for different reasons.
There were 2 seasons of it, and there's a third that might be happening, isn't happening.
Can you also Google? Can you also Google your point you're trying to get to? Can you?
Yeah, my
point.
point.
Google that.
That was a show that tried to incorporate all the cool lore that we've had in 20 odd years of Mortal Kombat video games, and it was fine, but I don't know really how much you're gonna want to get out of this movie. The problem with the old Mortal Kombat movies is that they didn't really explain anything.
right?
They just had like Scorpion and Sub-Zero show up, and I'm pretty sure they were on the same side. Like they were both serving Shang Tsung.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, who was in turn serving Shao Kahn.
Right.
It's weird. I don't know. I really don't know what to expect out of this movie. Like, one, it's a video game movie, so it's like, but they've been on the upswing, and I mean, the visuals look kind of good. I'm a little excited about it, but I mean, I'm also not going to go see it in a movie theater. Which is
definitely
a shame. It's a shame.
Do you think Johnny Cage is going to punch Goro in the balls again?
I hope so.
If he shows up,
it will be a missed opportunity.
Yeah, maybe there's no Johnny Cage.
Man.
Yeah, my only gripe is that since Scorpion's voice, I think needs to be punched up a bit. Like it needs to be kind of tweaked. I mean, when he turns into Scorpion, I think he needs to have like kind of like a more hoarse kind of sounding like the video game type voice. Because when he says "get over here" in the trailer, I don't really feel it. I'm like, oh, he said the thing, but I didn't feel it. Because like years of playing that game. I mean, in this trailer was just like "get over here," and I was like, okay.
Do you want him to be like,
Sure,
to brunch?
Come over there, champ.
Yeah, just come over there. Hey, come on over.
Do you want them to bane his voice up? Also, are they going to have any toasty references? They need to have a toasty reference, right?
I don't.
Oh,
know.
hell yeah.
The guy playing Kano seems like a right goofball.
Yeah.
I thought it was Seth Rogen at first.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Also, I hope Scorpion is not like the good guy. Like I feel like
that would
Scorpion.
suck.
It kind of makes it look like they're trying to make him like one of the protagonists, and I feel like that's not who Scorpion is. Like I don't know much about Mortal Kombat, but I do know he probably shouldn't be the good guy.
Yeah, I feel
like with the whole like the movie trend where they're trying to make us feel for these characters like Harley
Right.
Quinn and Cruella,
Right.
even though nobody asked. All these CEOs of Who Asked.
yeah. Who knew we needed a sympathetic origin for a dog murderer?
What's up with that? If any of you saw the Cruella trailer, I love the matchups of the Joker and Harley Quinn because that's exactly what Disney's doing. And people who are defending are like, no, it isn't. No.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
really?
got your- you
It
got
looks
your-
like it.
Your girl boss movie that's gonna end with somebody inevitably skinning dogs and winning. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really odd. The trailer makes it seem like they were trying to get like a feel for who
Yeah.
she was and her origin story. Again,
Uh,
who asked?
Well, I mean, they did Maleficent, right? And
Yeah.
that was quote unquote successful.
that kind of worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was successful enough to get another movie. Anyway, but
That's
with
true.
Mortal Kombat, you got a lot of characters that are sort of morally gray. I'm thinking Liu Kang is going to be your main protagonist, but like so are most of the other good guys. Like Sonya's a good guy, Jax is a good guy, Raiden's a good guy, kinda,
But not David Carradine, goddammit.
but not David
Nope,
Carradine.
not
God
Tim
damn it.
Carradine.
Not
Where's-
Christopher Lambert.
Never mind. I'm not going to make the joke.
Oh, that's what it
Is
is.
that
Sorry,
the
my bad,
other
my
rated?
bad.
The one that wasn't. That was all right.
I don't even know.
I don't know.
It was Christopher Lambert. I don't know. I thought it was David Carradine.
Yeah, it's the Highlander. He's the god of the Earth realm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Woof.
I don't know. I'm in on it, but I'm not. I'm not like salivating. I don't know if the world was asking for a Mortal Kombat movie.
I'll watch it,
I-
but I don't want
I-
to pay for it.
Exactly. Yeah. that's a great. I want to watch it, but I don't want to pay for it. And incidentally, if you sign up, because it's going to be on HBO Max, and here's what I figured out from Wonder Woman 84, which thank God I didn't pay for a Wonder Woman 84. Holy crap! Yeah, here's what I figured out. If you sign up for a free trial of YouTube TV, you can take off a box that says HBO Max and watch everything for free and just cancel it afterwards. Boom, you're done. You're welcome.
Nice. You just
You
got to
are-
time it.
Yep, you just got to time it. Yeah, it's 5 days free for YouTube TV, and I think the same for when you take off the HBO Max. And
Okay.
yeah, like boom, there you go.
Do you set an alarm to remember to turn that stuff off? Or are you like
yeah.
me and just all of a sudden you're like, oh, God, I have an extra month.
No,
Let's turn it off
100%.
now.
Like set it. 100%. Just set it. I'm just like I have enough.
You gotta,
I have enough
you gotta-
things here.
You got to
Awesome.
work the system, baby.
Yeah, that's what it is. Speaking of working the system, oh man, PlayStation 5 scalpers are in a tizzy. Okay, so here's this recent story. It's incredible. This thing from Forbes. So the guys who are scalping the PlayStation 5 says there's a lot of negative media, negative attention coming their way, and they don't appreciate it one single bit. I can tell you all to go straight to hell. So their whole gripe is to Forbes is that one, they're claiming that they provide a service to people. They're some kind of warped version of a middleman. They are employing people because apparently they have like these things. They aren't just like single guys do this. Apparently, like a lot of these things are like whole businesses of people who employ people to like look after these bots, to manage the inventory and stuff. You know, people always think it's like a guy in his garage. Sometimes it is, but it turns out some of these companies and some of these people that Forbes was interviewing are like whole small businesses that all they do is make your life a living crap by scalping PlayStation 5s, stocking them all up, and then just reselling it to you at a higher price. And they're trying to take a stance in this article that's holier than thou. One small business owner, one scalper small business owner even said that a lot of the proceeds that comes from their earnings goes to charity. And when the reporters pressed on which charities in their area they gave to, they didn't give him an answer. So there you go. I mean, he just said it goes to a charity. We gotta believe him, right? I mean,
What a sweaty piece
I
of
just
garbage.
gotta believe.
Like,
Yeah.
they're all crying, boo hoo. You know, they're vilifying us. Yeah, because you're a villain, dude. Like, you're garbage. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, it's so stupid. Like, oh, we're providing a service. You know who else was providing a service? Fucking Best Buy and Target.
Store.
Yeah. The retailers, the actual licensed retailers. Please find the highest point in your county and leap off. Like, do it.
Do us all
You're
a
awful.
favor.
There is like a market for like, you know, hard to get electronics that are like these things are not going to be sold in this area of the world. And so sometimes there are people that have companies that they get them to buy a stock and they ship them and they're able to get to places that the companies can't. That's not what's happening here. They're flipping and turning it back around directly on the same people that wanted to go to Amazon. They wanted to go to Best Buy. They wanted to go to GameStop to make this purchase, but they can't because they're sold out because these people keep buying them.
Yeah, if there's a bunch of people from Turkey, which has a high tax rate for, you know, special electronics, because they do so for cell phones and stuff like that. Chris and I would know, we worked in a tech company before. we get it. Like their government steps in, you know what I mean? So it is difficult for other countries to get it sometimes. If I'm grabbing a bunch of PlayStations and I'm marking up the price a little bit, but I'm sending them to Latvia, cool. Like if that's what you're doing, Scalper, cool.
Yeah, you're
Great.
doing it. You're doing a service to international shippers everywhere.
Now
Yeah.
you're making it available to people who actually can't go to the store, but you're not. You're the cause of it being unavailable. And now you're like, oh, well, it's unavailable. I don't know who took them all, but they're right behind me. I hate you.
And it's funny too, because here's a quote from the article. Some of the justification. And some of this it comes from the UK. So essentially, every business resells their products. Tesco, for example, buys milk from the farmers for 26 pence or so per liter and sells it upwards of 70 pence per liter. No one ever seemed to complain to the extent as they are currently doing towards themselves. But it's like no one is using bots to buy up like thousands and hundreds of milk and setting up all these businesses where you're just
Nobody's
buying up.
selling milk.
That's
on
a
stock.
product with an expiration on it. Like they're
Yeah.
gonna go around and buy something. We're talking about maybe $1 more or
Well,
something
hold
like
on
that.
a second. I mean, there's a pretty complicated supply and demand with your common milk.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got several variants of percentages. It's just like Chase action figures. Like you're out there in the store, like, yeah, whole milk's widely available.
Hey
And
Casey,
maybe
there are
2%.
2 models of PlayStation. That's it. That's all.
You know what we should do? We should buy up all the water, mark it up. Let's buy water, guys.
Yeah, it's an insane comparison.
Oh my
Like the
God.
supply and demand for milk as opposed to the supply and demand for like PlayStation 5s, and then like in the stores buying it. It's like it's not the same thing, guy.
No,
it's not the
not at
same
all.
thing. And there's one thing I agree with him on the scalper who has the business is that he said he's received death threats and things. I don't think like death threats are good in
No, of
any
course not.
circumstance. I mean, as much as even we don't talk about politics here. Like sending like a senator like a death threat, I think is terrible. So sending any human being a death threat is terrible. But at the same time, this guy's just like, listen, and I think this is partially why like they were interviewed for the article and wanted to do this. It's like, hey man, we need to do something to get these to stop, and it's kind of like getting too much. I mean, but at the same time, it's just like you're trying to justify what you're doing, buying up these products that are like, in the U.S. like $500 for one of them, right? You're selling them like for $1,000 plus.
You know what they just did? They just reminded a lot of people, myself including, that we don't like them. That's exactly what they did. By letting me go on to this thing.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, well, I almost forgot the PlayStation 5 existed. I honestly, I was like, whatever. Like, it's just erased from it. And then I see this article. I'm like, all right. I hate you guys again. Like, you almost had me, completely out of there.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a good experience with a scalper for any, even non-video game reason?
I'm blessed enough to not have to have dealt with a scalper. I don't think at all.
Yeah.
Like, ever.
Very, very back in the day, a buddy of mine, we were going to Florida Panthers hockey game, and a buddy of mine just like we had an extra, we had enough tickets for us, but a buddy was like hanging out at our friend's house. He wanted to tag along, and she's like, all right, well, I guess we'll just have to get you a ticket when we get there. So that was the only experience we ever had with a scalper, and the guy actually sold it at a reasonable price.
Very good price.
A very good price. But these guys were like, oh, that thing costs $500. I'm going to buy a bunch of them, hundreds of them. I'm going to stock them up in small warehouses or my garage or whatever, and sell them for $1,000, and in some cases $2,000 and
Insane.
more. And then you're forcing people who want to get them to pay up. And the thing is just that, the other complaint is that, they're also not selling. They have like a big stockpile of them. And it's just like, like, again, go to hell. And two, this isn't an essential item, but like, listen, everybody works, you're entitled to, you work hard for people to play hard, like use your money to buy whatever the hell you want. You know what I mean? So the other thing is this guy is saying in this article is that, hey, this is a luxury item, people can buy it. They don't have to get it if they want to. Like, listen, not the whole, you don't have to buy it. Like, get out of here. Absolutely get out of here. People can do whatever they want with their money. You work hard. You can buy whatever you want. But the thing is, you're buying hundreds upon hundreds, even thousands of this product that people want, and you're selling it to them at an exorbitant price.
And
then you want to cry boo-hoo that people are coming at you? Of course. People are going to come
they're
at
using
you.
a mean that doesn't allow us to even have a fighting chance to get it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing, is that they're, like I said, they're the cause of the shortage, and they're the reason why they're their own enemy. Like, they're the only person who's put them in this position.
Yeah.
I speaking of scalpers, like I'm thinking about it now, like, you know, PAX, right? PAX East. I'm like 3-4 years ago. I don't know. It was just before, you know, I started the show here. I was like, oh, there was a PAX that I didn't get tickets within the first 30 seconds. It went on sale. And I said, oh, guess I'm not going to PAX, because I will not. I'll ask friends, like if somebody has an extra one, like, you know, let me know. I'll buy it from you at face value. But like, I'm not gonna talk to anybody else to go there. It's just too much work. It's too annoying. It's too annoying to deal with like weirdos. You're weirdos. That's who you guys are. You're weirdos. If they're
100%.
listening.
Yeah, I always feel bad when there were scalpers outside of like an event or a convention. I'm just like, well, my buddy couldn't come because he couldn't get a ticket, but here's a scalper with a whole bunch of them in his hand. It's just like, go to hell, dude.
So the other rough thing about this as well is it is 100% taking advantage of the pandemic, because these distributors like PlayStation said, we're to make sure everyone's safe, we are only going to sell these things online. We don't want you to feel like you have to go to a store to purchase this when it isn't safe to go to a store. It's not safe to have people waiting outside for hours, all huddled close to each other, waiting to be the first one in line. So the fact that our normal ways of getting these things and, you know, the big events that we usually have of these launches wasn't going to happen. That all went online, which means you're at the mercy of the how websites function. So they're 100% taking advantage of the fact that we're forced to do it online, and that made this whole thing even worse.
Yeah. You know, it's
absolutely.
You know what's funny is I played so much Rust at this point that anytime I do have gear like this that's very valuable and hard to get, right? My journey back to my car, if I'm leaving a store like Micro Center, every time I leave there, I'm like, I'm watching my back, and I'm like, I'm ready to throw it down with anybody who comes too close to me. I'm serious too. It's like it's a sickness now at this point. But like I got new PC parts last week, right? I had like $1,200 worth of stuff just like in my hands, and I'm like, I don't trust that person who's looking at me. You know what I mean? Like, it's only missing somebody running up to me in their underwear being like, hey, do you have any tools that I can use? Like, I'm fucking them up if they come near me.
Hey, my arm's broken. Can you help me move this couch into my car?
Yeah.
Oh, man. So speaking of moving, we're going to move on to a quick break where we come back more of Button Smash right after this.
Hi, this is Michael Dolce, host of the Rogue Wave podcast. If you like comics, movies, TV, pop culture, and want inside access to the creators behind it, then you've come to the right place. Join us every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, streaming live on Facebook.com/RogueWavePodcast and Twitch.tv/RogueWavePodcast. New episodes available on all major podcasting apps immediately following the live stream. Rogue Wave Podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it.
All right, welcome back to Button Smash. Thank you, everybody who's been listening on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on iHeartRadio, ever listen to a podcast, and tuning in here live on twitch.tv/WeAreRogueMatter. Coming up, Nintendo Direct. Nintendo had their special presentation where they talked about a couple different games. They showcased them off. Some of them are good, some of them all right. But let's see what do we got up first here.
Let me tell you something about this Direct though that I gotta get off my chest.
Do it.
It has been over 500 days since the last Nintendo Direct, which is
Is it really?
yeah. Really outrageous. Like, there have been, like, little baby announcements here or there since then, but my God, for having to wait a year and a half for this, I was sorely disappointed.
A year and a half?
I
Well,
feel
it's
like they come out with something every week or something
It's
like
like
that. or every month.
500 days and change.
Yeah, they did like a bunch of little indie ones. We're talking about indie titles,
Smaller ones,
but
yeah.
not like or
Oh.
things for like specific titles, like small, like mini. Like they did one for Pokemon, they did
So
one
this
for
is
Animal
their
Crossing.
show.
But this was their big show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sucks.
Anyways, Casey, go on.
Anyways, here's the real crux of it. Smash Ultimate is the hotspot for gaming rumors, because with these character passes and the other characters that we've gotten in this game as DLC, from Sephiroth to Banjo and Kazooie,
The Joker.
Joker, I mean, but even the characters that were available at launch that weren't even DLC, that were surprise ads like Ridley and King K. Rool, everybody was jazzed. They keep throwing in these like JRPG characters, and I understand because Nintendo's a Japanese company first, and living in the West, we are grateful, so grateful for all that you give us. But I haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So I have no enthusiasm for, characters like Pyra and Mithra to join in this game. That's just me. Like, there's a million people in this game who have magic and swords, and if you showed me these characters and you're like, oh, they're from Fire Emblem, I'd be like, all right. Like, I don't see.
Yeah, they always have these like Fire Emblem characters and all these like other JRPG characters, and it's just like, who else? Who cares?
Yeah.
Okay, neat.
Maybe I'm showing my Western bias here, like, fine, but I don't know. I want something more exciting. Like, Sephiroth, like, blew my socks off. I was so excited.
Because Sephiroth was actually hype.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. Like, he came in, he killed Galeem in one swipe. Even Cloud's like, how dare you follow me into another franchise, you son of a bitch. But this, it's kind of like, all right, like neat. It's cool that we have a character that's two characters in one that transforms.
Didn't they already do that and decide it was a bad idea with
that was Zelda and Sheik, and they split
Yeah.
them up into two characters. So I'm like, all right, I guess if this is what we're doing now, go off. I guess. I don't know.
So Casey not very excited about the Smash announcement.
Not jazzed about it at all. I don't really know anybody who is. I mean, there are a couple of people on the internet who are like diehard fans of Xenoblade Chronicles, and I'm here just like.
Xenoblade had a crossover for Breath of the Wild, didn't it?
Yeah, you could get the protagonist. You can get the protagonist uniform.
Yeah,
and wear it.
Yeah, I didn't care about that either.
It's not, listen, you get it, and it's not as good as the Zora armor. So it's kind of like
yep. You're just like okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in this Nintendo Direct people really just didn't care about. People were like, okay, this is neat. What's that? Where's the real stuff?
I'm gonna check out the Xenoblade game though. This looks fun as shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, now you're on board?
No,
well, no, I'm on board with the game. I'm not gonna play Smash. I own it, and I won't play it.
Yeah, like they announced, Fall Guys Summer 2021, Monster Hunter Rise and Mars. Go ahead, go for it.
Fall Guys, like, come on, like, all right, finally to Switch, I guess, but like, that game is awful.
Dude, I love that game. I think it's
perfect. So bad.
It's 100% perfect for the Switch, and it's weird that it didn't launch in the Switch.
Okay, fair, but that game is so bad, dude. Like, I played it for 3 minutes, right? And I saw these two guys just slingshot from the beginning to the cross, right, to the final part of the map. The finish line. That's the word I was looking for. I seem so angry that I can't even use my brain right now. But like that, and everybody was reporting that people were cheating in the game, and the developers just didn't do anything. They're just like, yeah, we have no idea how to fix that. Sorry. And I'm like, okay, and I'm just like, like the game's cute. The game looks awesome. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, and it's probably fun as hell. I just don't know who's like. I'd be surprised if more than 100,000 people are playing it at any given moment. Still,
yeah. I wonder if the hype's probably died down by now. But whatever, man. I think it's a fun, just quick pick me up game. I do think it's like overpriced. Like it should be maybe $5. It really should be free to play. But and if it was that was the case, there would probably be more forgiveness over the
make it free to play. Throw some skins in there. Get your parents' wallet. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That's how you make money.
Yeah, that's the Fortnite model exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then we also got Monster Hunter Rise announced, or rather, it's been announced that it's going to come out on March 26th, along with a Monster Hunter Rise branded Switch and branded Joy-Cons as well. So people some people seem really excited for Monster Hunter Rise. Go for it. Awesome. More of it. And then Mario Golf.
Now this has got me all in a tizzy. Let me tell you.
Now this is pod racing.
Yeah. Look,
are you gonna say, Casey? Is this your game? Is this it?
I was thinking about it. I would say I'm a modest Mario sports fan. The last couple of entries have not really blown me away, but I remember Mario Golf and Mario Golf Toadstool Tour very, very fondly. And there's two things about this that I'm already 1,000,000% on board about. One is speed golf, where you hit it and then you gotta run for that ball to hit it again.
That's like the 1,000-foot robot golf was like that as well.
Yeah, it's great. It brings like a totally new, like, exciting aspect to what is normally a slow-paced, very quiet and boring game. Which, you know, it's got Mario characters. Give it a little sensation, you know? And the second thing is that, have you seen Wario's outfit? Because that motherfucker looks like a boss hog. He's about to run those Duke boys right over a pit.
Is he really wearing like...
Listen, he's on the fairway to get a deal, and he's not messing around. Like, he's walking out there. He's walking off that fairway with the deal plus some bonuses is what's going on.
That's where deals happen on the
That's
golf
where
course.
deals happens with Wario. This game looks... I might actually get this game. I like mini golf like way more than I actually play mini golf, but every time I do, I'm like, this friggin' rules. And I played the game What the Golf, which was just super delightful on Switch, and it kind of, you know, it gets me in. Sometimes gets in the mood. I just want to do some putting. That's all.
Yeah,
Can you throw banana?
It actually
peel
looks
in front of
interesting.
people?
I hope so.
During speed golf, I'm excited, man. I love golf games because I'm secretly a 65-year-old boomer, but I'm jazzed about this, man. I'm very happy that this is coming out, and to throw the speed golf part in there is going to be super fun, I think. My only question is, do you have to play it like you would with a Wii, or can you just play it like on a console
I'm sure
style?
you can play it with a normal controller.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I'm sure you can just like
I'm
sit
fully
there.
in.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. Casey, tell us about No More Heroes.
Travis Touchdown going up against the greatest superheroes the universe has to offer. I don't know what more can be said about this game that I haven't said previously. If you haven't played the first No More Heroes games, you are missing out because they are a really fun. I don't know if I would describe it as hack and slash because it's definitely a little more technical than that. Let's say yeah. I mean, it's a sword, right? You got to hack and slash with a sword. This new one has the graphics toned up. It looks like they brought back the odd jobs in a way that makes them a little more fun and probably a little less painful. I love the colors. I love the music. I love everything Suda51 has ever put out. I'm getting this on day one. No question, no bones about it. Day one. I don't do that for a lot of things, but for this, for sure.
Cool. That's coming out August 27th. And since you are also our resident Animal Crossing guru, what's happening with Animal Crossing?
We got a Super Mario furniture. You got question blocks. You got brick blocks. You got coins. And you got a functional warp pipe.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
that's actually really cool.
Wait, how does that work then?
You jump in the pipe. And if
take
you have
a bunch of
second
mushrooms.
pipe, you take a bunch of mushrooms. You get real crazy with it. Fight a turtle king in the sewer. All right? No. You put 2 warp pipes on your island. You hop in one. You come out the other. You put more than 2 warp pipes on your island. It's random.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
So it becomes a whack-a-mole. That's exciting.
Dude, this is gonna
the
be so
aesthetic
good.
looks awesome. Like
Yeah,
just
it
having
does.
like the Mario blocks and the question and the star and everything. And it just fits so perfectly within the aesthetic of Animal Crossing. You know,
Yeah.
it's all so soft and round.
Is this like a free update or is this paid DLC?
It's all free.
All
It's
free.
all free, yeah.
The only paid DLC is going to be your pocket camps right there.
Yep.
Just keep pumping away into that mobile game. But boy, am I craving a real update for this game. Like, give me something of substance.
Oh god, we're going down that pipe.
Get me hooked into this game for more than
See,
like
Casey's starting
a
it.
single holiday.
Casey's starting to get a little wormy over
Like
here.
little wily.
Festivale is fine. You know, you do a little dance, catch little feathers, you get your fucking marimba equipment. Like, all right, very cool. I'm having a good time for one day, and then like, where's my gyroids at? Where's the cafe? Give me something of substance. This game has been out for almost a year, and I am so grateful that they give updates. But you're giving me updates for stuff that was available at launch in the previous title that came out 10 years ago.
Next skin update Zelda. They just keep giving you skin
that
updates
was
from like
Zelda
other
35th
Nintendo
anniversary.
titles that you already
Xenoblade
own.
Chronicles update.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
JRPG. Just keep
Not
giving you
even.
skins for stuff, like no real updates to Animal Crossing, just a bunch of skins from other Nintendo.
Cool. You get Marth's sword.
Oh, it's so good.
You can't even
Oh,
pick it
gosh.
up. You just put it in your house somewhere. Great.
Yeah.
Cool.
What else did they show? Project Triangle strategy. What's that? Do you even care?
No.
Yeah. So so real quick, I do want to touch on this because it's a new title, new RPG title from Square Enix. The last time they did something that was kind of like this ended up being Octopath Traveler, which had like a bunch of hype up front, but didn't quite land the plane on launch. This looks like a more in-depth like battle system having to do with like not so much the characters, but also what the maps look like and kind of how you're positioned on the map kind of matters in these different battles. The kind of art style looks kind of cool, kind of like that 32-bit RPG style, but certainly more layered. There's actually a demo for this available now. You can download, try it out, see if you like it. But that game is going to be launching in 2022. I just thought it kind of looked interesting, so I put it on the list of things we should talk about. So yeah, Project Triangle Strategy.
Hey, speaking of games, things coming up, we got Star Wars Hunters coming out later this year. They said 2021. So Star Wars Hunters is supposed to be a third-person shooter game, Star Wars game. They didn't really say anything else. There's no other information on this yet other than it exists, and it's coming out for Nintendo Switch, iOS, and Android. And it's made by Zynga, the mobile game company, guys. So I'm either worried or I'm gonna have a neat little game on my Switch that I can take and just pop on for a little bit.
Yeah.
But hey,
I mean, they made Words with
wanna see more.
Friends, so like they make fun little quick bite-sized games.
Oh, it's
like
these
yeah.
guys?
yeah,
Star
which is
Wars
interesting.
Yeah,
that
Travel,
they're-
baby.
They make everything, Zynga.
Yeah, they make a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff. So it's interesting that they're tackling Star Wars. So
Right.
who knows? But I mean, what was it? Is it Galaxy of Heroes? Was the other Star Wars mobile game that some people like that one?
Yeah,
A lot of
there's
people
like a
did.
card game one. There's just like the one
Yeah.
that's like Raid Shadow Legends, but it just like automatically plays itself. I mean, so some of these Star Wars games, people they'll play regardless. But yeah, I'm excited to see like what it's going to be. I mean, I haven't picked up my Switch in a minute, but it'll be good to have a little game you can pop on if you're just out somewhere or you're chilling and you just want to pop in a Nintendo Switch game. Hey, if it's Star Wars,
It's Star Wars, so we're gonna
It's
try
Star
it. Let's put it that way.
exactly. Yeah. Knockout City.
I think this looks pretty cool. It's basically like dodgeball Fortnite-y. Supposedly, I think I read that it's some of the devs from that ex-devs from Mario Kart worked on this. It definitely has that like very Nintendo, almost Splatoon-y feel to it. But yeah, it just looks like kind of like Battle Royale, rapid fire, dodgeball, but like with like weird power-ups and things like that.
Oh, it totally has that Fortnite aesthetic to it, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
Like
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and their advertisement is definitely like a lawsuit waiting to happen because they just intentionally ripped off a bunch of existing properties.
Yeah.
But yeah, Knockout City, I think whatever, it looks kind of fun.
It does look interesting, yeah. Give it a chance. I was going to give it a chance. Is Hyrule Warriors has an expansion pass coming out?
Oh yeah, it does. We got two promised update. Look, I get excited over like a couple of things, and then I have zero interest in anything else.
That's me, baby.
Listen, when it comes to Nintendo, I'm very much a franchise guy because they're the only place that you can get Nintendo's franchises. Inevitably, everything else is available somewhere else. It's just a matter of time, but not with Nintendo. They're very, very protective.
Mhm.
I thought Hyrule Warriors was super dope. I played the absolute crap out of it when it came out, and then I did everything there was to do, and I stopped playing it. But now you have the promise of more and different
More.
and new
What?
for only $20. You can sign me up. When it launches in May, you get a new costume and a new weapon for Link, which is fine. But then come, I believe, June or July, they've got story quests and new characters and new stages and a whole slew of stuff. And then a second one in November, which is pretty good. I haven't really been let down by any expansion pack in the past. I'm not very like a huge DLC guy when it comes to Nintendo because they're still kind of, it's so weird to say, they're still kind of new with it. But it's give me more game that I already like, and I'm in.
Speaking of game, you already. Legend of Zelda Skyward S-Word is coming to this one. I love it because like you have I love it because in this Nintendo Direct everyone was just like, new Zelda ? Everyone's just salivating what's gonna happen, and it's just like, hey, we don't have anything from the new Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. We've got nothing for you, but enjoy this. And it's just like, hey, here's Zelda Skyward Sword.
Unbelievable.
For you. Get wrecked, nerds.
Yeah, what a prank.
Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
Not
craziest
excited.
thing about this for me is I know there are people out there who enjoy Skyward Sword. In fact, I was one of those people until I realized there's so much crap in this game that I can't believe wasn't smoothed out in the initial development phase. The overworld's empty. They handhold you through the entire game with, Fee, the thing that lives in your sword, who, despite all the handholding and garbage, is a really cool character narratively. I will give it that. There's this stupid dowsing mechanic where you got to point your sword like you're looking for something, and it's like beep, 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 and that tells you where to go. Instead of, I don't know, just walking down a path, and hey, there's the temple. No, you got to look for it with this stupid mini game. There's a lot of dumb nonsense in that game that really holds it back from being a great Zelda.
Tell us how you really feel about it, Casey.
That is how
tell
I
us-
really feel about it. I don't know. Do you want me to say something good about it? It has one of the absolute best dungeons ever in Zelda, the Ancient Cistern, which combines all the scariness of the Shadow Temple and Ocarina of Time, and all the I hate water, but I really love the design of this level of the Water Temple and Ocarina of Time. And you fight like zombies, and you fight a statue that's got 6 arms. That's really, that one dungeon is kind of the greatest takeaway that people have about that game. And Groose, the stupid slickback cockatiel of a man. They're releasing it in HD, which means there's probably not going to be too many substantial changes considering the track record here. Wind Waker HD had a fair amount of changes to it. Twilight Princess had some, but I really can't see any significant changes being made to Skyward
Well, it looks like
Sword.
in the Direct they were addressing some of the controls. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, because the whole gimmick of it was that you had one-to-one sword play, because you had to play it with a Wiimote and nunchuck, and they even developed Wii Motion Plus for the purpose of this game because it's the only way they could make it work. They had to enhance their motion technology as it was originally presented. So they did come up with a cool gimmick where if you're playing on a controller, you're going to use the left stick to simulate the motion that you would normally have by swinging, which is fine. But the whole game is sort of built around it, and it's not very difficult. The game it compensates for human failing, I guess. Does that make any sense?
It does.
Like if you're a dumb kid swinging your arms around like, I've got a sword.
That's me. Yes.
That's
Go
you.
on.
Yeah, okay, great.
With
the
actual swords.
The enemies will like wait for you to attack. They'll put up their guard and be like, hey, you got to hit me from the right this time.
Oh, so they're honorable.
And every enemy in the game is like that. There's not really any enemy that demonstrates like true mastery of it. It's kind of like, oh, my sword's over to the left. I hope you don't hit me from the right. Like I sure hope that you don't figure out basic directions and opposites. You kid putting a square peg in a round hole. Like I don't really know what else there is to say about
it's
it.
made for all those type of kids out there.
To really like get people, I mean, speaking for myself, but the only way to really get me excited for something like Skyward Sword would be basically a complete overhaul of how the game works. It's really slow. It was the first time they added a stamina meter, and it doesn't speed anything up because if you're used to your character running at one speed, the game won't feel slow. Like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask don't feel slow because you're used to just that one speed. But if you give Link the ability to dash and run up slopes, it's like, oh, great, now I have to wait for all of his health to come back.
You could go faster in Ocarina of Time. You just have to roll.
Yeah. Oh, just every 1.5 seconds. But that feels good, Like you just get to roll or backflip or side hop all the way across Hyrule Field. Like I miss that. I love that. This, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was very, very let down when that game came out, and I beat it 4 times. So fuck me, I guess.
God,
I don't
you always
even
get
know
so
what to-
passionate when we talk about Nintendo. Like the main time when you
Look,
curse is
you
like
have
Nintendo
to you have
stuff.
to think about it this way, right? So,
It's so funny.
when I was a wee lad,
When you were a young warthog.
Wii U
when I
lad,
was a
okay.
young warthog. Very nice.
Thanks.
thank you.
Great, there we go.
I started with the Sega Genesis, and that was fine. But as soon as I got a Nintendo 64, that's all I had for years until I decided, wow, maybe I should play some computer games. I never owned a PlayStation. I never owned anything else. No Dreamcast, no handhelds that weren't Nintendo. So I've been a diehard Nintendo fanboy basically my whole life. I still haven't made that leap to PlayStation, even though I'm dying to, universe. So obviously I'm very attached to this sort of
Scalpers.
stuff. But, man... why pick the worst Zelda game as your one thing to announce? And also, if you have your Mario All-Stars 3D pack, right, which is going off sale sometime in March, I can't remember, right? It was a limited time only release. For Mario's 35th anniversary, now Zelda's 35th anniversary is coming out. Wind Waker HD already exists. Twilight Princess HD already exists. And now you're making Skyward Sword HD. So what should you do? Maybe release it as a 3-pack the same way you did those other games. Instead of selling me a 10-year-old game with barely any polish on it for $60.
I said, good day, sir.
You have lost.
You lose.
You've lost your
You
mind.
get nothing.
I'm not paying $60 for a game I've already played that has remedial changes at best.
Kingdom Hearts on Epic Store.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
wish that was $60. That's like
They are.
$180 if you want to get the whole series.
That's
Forget
true.
about it. I'm not made of money.
Ridiculous.
Anyways,
Speaking of ridiculousness,
Skyward Sword, July 16th, coming out.
Yeah. And Splatoon 3 had a weird trailer. What the hell was going on there? It was like they shot off in a desert, and then you see like the little like Squid
Yeah.
Kid customizing themselves, customizing the little companion.
You see
and then,
that train yard though? That looks
Yeah,
an awful lot like Rust. I was into it.
I was gonna say Apex or Borderlands.
Oh, or basically like any post-apocalyptic looking
Yes.
arena.
Yeah, and then the Squid Kid gets to the city. I'm like, well, like what is this like cyberpunk capitalization going
Yeah.
on here? And then it says Splatoon 3, and there you go. That was really odd.
Look, I need to complain real quick that there's now been 2 Splatoons in the Switch generation, but they still haven't gotten a Mario Kart for the Switch generation. They just ported the Wii U version over and decided. So we've had 1 Mario Kart and 3 Splatoons in the last 2 friggin' generations. I'm upset. And don't tell me that Mario Kart Live Circuit thing is a substitute.
That
'cause
don't
no,
count.
that doesn't count.
Listen,
Anyways, if you love Splatoon, good news for you. But if you love Mario Kart, we can still complain.
Nintendo really needs a kick in the pants on their other franchises. Like,
Yeah, man.
We've talked
Yeah.
about a bunch of stuff in this direct, and there's still more. But can you imagine if they announced Metroid Prime 4 or showed a trailer of that, or a new Kid Icarus Uprising, or God, I wish another F-Zero or another Punch-Out game. Like, they're sitting on all these really great franchises, and they're just like, have another JRPG. Have another JRPG. Like, you
I'm all
like
for that,
kids
though.
like Monster Hunter. Like, I'm over it, man. Like, give me something that I can look forward to. Even a new IP. Like, something that's not just this Japanese schlock of a game that's just anime. Swords Boys, it's killing me.
Anime Sword.
Anime
Boy.
Swords Boys.
I think that's a selling point for a lot of people.
The creator,
Yeah.
the creator of Gravity Falls.
Casey, go on. Tell
The-
me
the
more
creator
about
of
Anime
Gravity
Swords
Falls-
Boys.
that's a
Alex-
selling point for a lot of people. Casey.
Alex Hirsch has an evergreen tweet, and he says, "I'm never going to be mad about another Smash Brothers announcement again, because I'm just going to call the character Jarth. Any anime Swords Boy that I don't recognize, it's just a Jarth. And I'm so sick of these Jarths clogging up my Nintendo time. Just
Turkar Jarths.
it's a
The
Turkar
Turkar
Jarth.
Jarths. But there is something people are looking forward to as we move along here. No Man's Sky has a companion update.
No Man's Sky, man, we definitely talked about this like ad nauseum when No Man's Sky first came out, and there was all the controversy because it didn't have all the stuff that they promised. However, like at least twice a year they have these major updates, and this new one that actually just dropped yesterday is they call it the Companion Update, where you can now tame and ride and befriend the animals that you kind of encounter on these worlds, which is really freaking cool. The amount of stuff that they put into this game since that launch, like this is obviously like definitely a logical move, but they've added stuff like base building and like space dune buggies and mech suits, and the addition of multiplayer,
Dogfights in space, like
dogfights in space. All this stuff is really cool. And I think like, way to go, Hello Games. Like, you definitely turned yourself around between everybody like shitting on you at first.
I don't understand why people shit on them in the first place, man. I will always give these guys a pass. So yeah, maybe the game wasn't great when it first came out, but that's because they lost everything in a flood. Like, they had to start this all from scratch after they lost their entire server.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, like these guys lost
all.
everything at one point. Like, the entire operation was just flushed, and they were just like, we'll just start over. Like, and they did it. It's awesome.
The one promise, and at launch, the one thing that they really promised was you can go from the surface of the planet up to space and back from space down to the surface of the planet at will, without like there's no loading screens or anything like that. You just fly up. In that one like mechanic there, when building video games, they always talk about the verbs, like what is the main verb of this, and like just being able to get in, fly anywhere, land anywhere, and do whatever. That promise 100% was fulfilled from like that first launch. And I think this is really cool. I think that they're turning this into basically like your classic survival games. I know, Jay, you like your Rust, but it's like space Rust, but it doesn't reset every 2 weeks.
I have No Man's Sky. I played it a lot, but I got stuck on trying to find the right cargo ship, and just in that restart. Okay, it's not the right one. Restart, not the right one. So I ruined it for myself. I would love to get back into this though.
Yeah, I do. I've restarted this game several times, but it's a little disheartening because I had gotten so far before. But then they changed so much that I don't even know like what the different stack, like the different like building stacks are anymore. So, but it's still just fun space things.
Yeah.
How can you not like that? Also, one other cool thing that we have as well for Xbox has actually announced that they are rolling out a new accessibility program. With the release of Xbox One and PlayStation, they're definitely PlayStation 4. They're definitely in that generation has been a push for more inclusive and accessibility features, which has been great. Xbox last year even announced and released an accessibility controller, which is like a hub where you can use all sorts of different types of controllers for folks that have mobility issues. That is like really awesome. If you have the chance, like look into how that works, and how that controller really can hook up to, you can basically make whatever control scheme that you want for whatever you can do. But on top of that, they've rolled out this accessibility program for developers where if a developer is making a game, they can submit their game for review to make sure that the game meets these Xbox accessibility standards, and they'll get the game back with not only whether or not they do, but feedback about if it's not, how it could be better, as well as basically it's like another step of QA, quality assurance, to make sure that they are following those standards. And this is awesome. The fact that this has now become a routine thing in these companies, making sure that, and especially Microsoft, I 100% give Microsoft credit for making sure that they tackle this specific problem. That sometimes there are games and things they expect you to do that just isn't accessible to everyone.
Yeah, it's a great initiative.
Big ups there.
Yep.
And the last thing we want to talk about as far as our news, Embracer, who we actually talked about last week as buying Borderlands, had an internal earnings call, or it was some sort of call where they were talking about their new plan to do something they're calling the archive of all video games. And what this is they actually have been collecting just like classic games. We're talking about arcade games, old, hard to find consoles, and apparently they have about 50,000 pieces right now. But they're incorporating this as a part of their company to even do like exhibitions where, you know,
Like a museum almost.
like kind of like a museum that they almost want to like even like tour pieces of it around, basically as a reference for up and coming developers, being like, hey, like look where we came from. These are some ideas that other people had in the past, to see what we have here. Because sometimes some games just kind of fall by the wayside. They're hard to find. But having a specific preservation plan that someone's going through and trying to find every single video game and have a record of that's kind of rad.
It is actually. Yeah. And with that, we are running out of time, but I'm going to go real quickly and see what everyone's been playing recently. Let's start with Casey. What have you been playing?
So I started playing FTL again. And more like FML, am I right? Because
Got him.
all this game does is give me anxiety. And I really don't know why I enjoy it or why I play it so much. But it's so helplessly addicting. You play as a space vessel who's out on the run from a rebel faction trying to destroy your Federation. And you go from uncharted sector to uncharted sector. The whole thing is procedurally and randomly generated. You get new kinds of crew. You get all kinds of different weapons. You get into fights. You save stuff. This game's been out for like 10 years. It's pretty fairly well known. I recommend that everybody give it a shot just on general principle, because it is really, really great. And
General principle.
yeah, general principle. And yeah, you know, maybe you're not good at it. That's not the end of the world. But you may have fun doing it. I don't, but that's just me.
Hey. Jay, what have you been playing?
So a game called Valheim. I'm sure you've
I've also been
probably
playing
heard of it.
Valheim.
I started playing it the other day. I was asking some friends about it. I'm like, all right, what is this? And they had to explain it to me in terms of how it's kind of like Rust, right? But no, really, they're just like, yeah, it's a survival game. The graphics are a little janky, but this is what you do. And there's 5 bosses, and you got to go find them, farm up, and go kill them. I don't really know what the point is. I don't know if I like it at all. But beyond that, I've been playing Wrath of the White Witch, which is
Ni
one
no
of the
Kuni.
yeah JRPG, man.
It's different when it's Studio Ghibli.
That's true, and I gotta say, man, there's 3 different versions of animation on here. The Ghibli animation, which is obvious, like the 2D. There's like the gameplay, and then there's like this weird little cutscene in between.
Yeah.
That has like a 2D, 3D kind of effect to it. It's beautiful. I started playing it. It's on Switch, so I'm just playing that whenever I'm like bopping around the house, just doing whatever. Basically, the only times I'm not at this desk, which is very rarely, it's just moments before I go to sleep, and that's when I just like open that up, play it a little bit, and it's been great.
Nice. And Chris, what are you up to?
Couple quick things. Last week I talked about Destiny 2 Season The Chosen launched, and so I played a little bit of that, but I mainly want to talk about that because of a hilarious experience I had where I was flying around on my Sparrow, just minding my own business, going between two different checkpoints, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my character just died. Like I was just riding, and then my character just died, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird. Okay, whatever. I'll
Destiny's
respawn."
bad.
But when it respawned inside of one of the buildings that was off of the map with the door closed. So I respawned and then immediately started getting the countdown of you need to return to the playable area. And then I died again. And then I respawned, but in the same spot. So I couldn't get out and I had to leave the world. And I was a little annoyed, but I also thought it was kind of funny that this update clearly has a little bit of jank going on to it.
I won't acquire another copy of Destiny, by the way.
You can't. You have them all.
I've acquired too many. No, there's a free one for Steam, and I won't even download it.
I feel like at this point, on general principle, you owe it to yourself
Oh, man.
General principle.
To get it or to just leave it alone?
to get it and then leave it alone.
and leave it.
Just one for the collection. Keep it in pristine mint condition.
There you go. Just like Embracer Games. One actually cool thing I did learn about this as well, and I was a little confused, is there's a different, like they do seasons, but then there's also the expansion. And while the expansion, you do have to purchase on each individual console, unless you have Game Pass for like Xbox, then it gets you everything. Yep. But the seasons, when you make the purchase, it's an in-game purchase, and that seasons will actually carry over to all your different platforms, which is cool. Just one little side thing. The other thing that I played was Vader Immortal, the VR game.
Yeah. Ooh.
And it's only like an hour long, but it looks so freaking cool, and the fact that you're just like standing next to Darth Vader in like to scale, and like fighting with a lightsaber in VR is just like really cool. And I only played through chapter 1, and I have the other chapters to go that I'll have to download and play as well. I think each one is about an hour or so, but as far as like a VR experience, it's freaking rad.
Nice.
The end.
Yeah, I heard Vader Immortal is really, really good. It's most good. But that's all the time we have for today's episode of Button Smash. Thank you all who've been watching here live on twitch.tv/RealRogueMatter, listening to us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, anywhere you listen to a podcast. Tune in next time as we talk to you straight from the chest about everything under the sun, including the video game industry. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you later, or we will see you another time.
Thank you for playing Button